More and more often, we see violence and intimidation rather than words and debate coming from the left. This week, Brian Sims, the angry Democrat in Pennsylvania, issued a whatever apology for threatening conservative protesters. In addition, at the University of North Carolina, a conservative was punched multiple times in the face and kicked simply for being a conservative. President Trump's poll numbers are on the rise, Betos are sinking fast, and Ilhan Omar doesn't know the law. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, so what is it about the left that they have to resort to violence? I just don't get it. This is supposed to be a civilized society. We debate, we discuss, we persuade. That's how agendas get moved forward. That's how movements are made. Yet the left sees, I guess they see the vast majority of Americans rejecting their policies, so they want to stifle debate. They want to remove the opposition, and they are resorting to tactics that have no place in American society. This week, we had Brian Sims. I talked about him on Wednesday, a Democrat in Pennsylvania, who stakes out a Planned Parenthood clinic, and conservatives show up to pray, and he harasses and threatens them. The most recent incident that we brought up, he harassed a mother and teenage daughters and offered $100 on video for anyone who could expose the identity of the teenagers. And here's a little clip from that.
Hi everyone, Representative Brian Sims here, and I am outside the Planned Parenthood at southeastern Pennsylvania. Oh no, they're leaving now. What we've got here is a bunch of protesters, a bunch of pseudo-Christian protesters who've been out here shaming young girls for being here. And so here's the deal, I've got $100 to anybody who will identify any of these three.
All right, well, we have an update. Because of the criticism that he received, he decided, I guess some CYA was in order, and he made a video, an apology video. But it ended up being more of an apology to Planned Parenthood rather than the conservatives he's threatening. He still took the time in the video to actually continue to blast the protesters. And here's just a little clip from it.
And I have seen firsthand the insults, the slurs, the attacks, and the racism that those protesters aim at mostly young girls going there for clinical care. Care that those of us on the outside can never understand. And last week was no different. What I should have shown you in that video was protesters gathered together to pray at, not to silently pray for, people coming in and out of Planned Parenthood as they intercepted them and harassed them.
So it's beyond pathetic, and this is a growing trend. We saw the Antifa violence at University of California, Berkeley. We saw Hayden Williams, we'll put him on the screen here, who was representing Turning Point USA, manning a table and just got punched right in the face. And it goes on and on and on. Well, this week it happened again. At the University of North Carolina, you have an organization named Created Equal. They are setting up a table. They represent the pro-life movement, and they want to show people the horrors of abortion. So they're setting this up. They barely got going, and a protester came and punched this guy in the face. The guy who got punched is named Awesome Beigel. I actually talked to him. We'll get to his comments in a little bit. But they barely had a chance to know what was going on before the attack. And here's some video from it.
No, we're going to get a downpour soon. It's going to come down in buckets.
Yep.
Yes.
Is this here?
Yeah. Ma'am, don't do that, please.
And they even have a slow-mo clip so you can just see how crazy this is. All right, and after that, she continued to shout, scream, throw the F-bomb all over the place until the police, finally showed up. And here's a report from Fox News. He said, Mark Harrington, the president of Created Equal, told Fox News that this is part of a bigger trend on college campuses. Students being groomed on college campuses to be leaders, writers, and thinkers of the left are increasing in censorship and violence against those with whom they disagree, Harrington said. Last year, Thomas Metcalf, 21, a member of the Young Democrat Socialists of America at IU and Black Lives Matter, was charged with disorderly conduct, vandalism, and larceny theft on October 4th, attacking Created Equal's protest. Harrington pointed out Pennsylvania State Rep. Brian Sims' recent harassment on camera of pro-life women and teens is indicative of what it looks like when left-wing students come to power. Now, as I said, I chatted with Austin Beigel yesterday, and he said that it was just stunning how fast everything occurred. They barely set up 30 seconds in the Commons area when this happened. And here's a little statement from him. He says, during our stop at UNC, we had barely finished setting up our display when the woman in the video asked, did y'all put these signs up? I responded affirmatively, and she immediately lunged at me, punched me in the face and head numerous times, and then kicked me in the stomach. All right, and you talk about safe spaces. You have college students, complaining to university leaders that they need safe spaces because conservative thought is so bad. These people are getting punched in the face. They're getting kicked. Their property is being destroyed. I think that goes up. I mean, where's the safe space for them? I mean, this is absolutely outrageous, and we see it more and more often, and something needs to be done about it. All right, I want to talk about President Trump because on last Friday, we talked about the economy and how things are booming, unemployment's low, everything is great as far as that is going. And he took a little shot this week, Wednesday night, he was at a rally in Florida, took a little shot at Beto, and here it is.
I went to Texas and I made a speech. And Beto, boy, is he falling like a rock. What the hell happened to Beto?
Yikes, so we'll get to Beto's numbers in a little bit. But as I said, with the economy booming and unemployment so low, you would think that the president would get a little bump in the polls because of it, and he has. Here's the latest from a poll released last week from Rasmussen Reports. The Rasmussen Reports daily presidential tracking poll for Friday shows that 50% of likely U.S. voters approve of President Trump's job performance, 47% disapprove. The latest figures include 35% who strongly approve of the job Trump is doing and 39% who strongly disapprove. And here's what's interesting. As part of that article, he did a side-by-side tracking poll for the time in office for President Obama and President Trump. And we'll put this on the screen. Trump is in green and Obama is in blue. And you see that Obama started off stronger, and yet now they're tracking almost side by side. And it shows you that, okay, Obama, with poor policies at this time, ended up getting reelected. Trump is doing so much for the economy by mostly just letting the economy do its thing, staying away, decreasing regulations, lowering taxes, the things that actually help the economy create jobs on its own. And he is there neck and neck with Obama, and it's got to have the Democrats freaking out. Now, as far as Beto is concerned, you hear about him less and less in the media, that he's gone out of favor with them, and he is falling in the polls. Here's where he kind of stacks up with the other Democrats. This is a poll released from Morning Consult, and it shows Joe Biden at 40%, Bernie Sanders at 19%, Elizabeth Warren at 8%, Kamala Harris 7%, Pete Buttigieg at 6%, Beto 5%, Cory Booker 3%. So there's where you see it's going. Biden and Sanders right now are dominating the field. Anything can change, but Beto is struggling for airtime with all these other personalities up ahead of him, and it does not bode well right now. All right. Next, I want to talk about the shooting that happened in Colorado because I have a feeling that this story is going to disappear from the news very quickly. It's a tragic story. A student lost his life trying to protect other students, because teachers didn't have guns. They're not armed to defend themselves. And it's just the narrative is so opposite from the left, and that's why I fear it's going to disappear. Here is a report from the Washington Examiner. The social media posts by a suspect in the STEM school Highlands Ranch shooting in Colorado included opposition to Christians who hate gays, criticism of President Trump, and support for the left-wing Occupy Democrats. On his now-deleted Facebook accounts, the 18-year-old suspect posted, "You know what I hate? All these Christians who hate gays. Yet in the Bible it says in Deuteronomy 17, 12, 13, if someone doesn't do what their priest tells them to do, they're supposed to die." There's plenty of crazy stuff like that, but all they get out of it is, ooh, gays. The other suspect in this shooting, which left 1 dead and 7 wounded, have been identified in court documents as a 16-year-old female who identifies as a transgender male and prefers to be called by a boy's name. All right, so that's their background. The other part of this was the guns. Because they were minors, they ended up taking handguns from one of the parents' houses and using those. So in this story, we have left-wing wacko, transgender, and handguns. Not, far-right white supremacists using AR-15s. And that's why I think it's going to disappear. And the media gloss over this story. It's already, Cory Booker and others are using it as gun control, and it's clear when you look at it, it's not a gun control issue. These were handguns owned by the parents at the parents' house, and the kids stole them. So what are you going to do? What law is going to prevent, someone who's going crazy from doing something like that? And the other thing it glosses over is the psychiatric side, the psychological side. There's something wrong with these kids. And to not treat it, to not suggest counseling. Now more and more psychology is getting pushed aside in favor of a left-wing agenda that says you can do anything, everything's normal, everything's okay. Well, guess what? It's not. Some of these people are struggling and they need counseling. And instead the left just says, hey, celebrate who you are. It's all good. Well, clearly in a lot of cases, it's not good. All right. Finally, I want to leave you with just a head-scratching moment, and it's not quite as crazy as what we talked about on Wednesday. On Wednesday, if you missed the show, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez felt the need to tell the world through video on Instagram that she has no idea what a garbage disposal is and that it scares her. Here's just a little clip.
I am told this is a garbage disposal. I've never seen a garbage disposal. I never had one in any place I've ever lived. It is terrifying. I don't know what to use it for or what its purpose is.
All right, why she felt the need that had to go on Instagram and tell the world, it's weird. And I mean, it's just outrageous. And folks, I love the comments you made Wednesday. Jump in and make some more today because the story's just nuts. Well, Ilhan Omar followed up, and not nearly as crazy as not knowing what a garbage disposal is. But again, this is a sitting member of Congress. And this week she tweeted this. She says, imagine if we were able to see Trump's most recent tax returns as required by law. Hello, it's not the law. It never has been. And for a sitting congressperson and their whole staff, she has researchers, a chief of staff, a communications director. Someone had to know that, and yet she puts it out there. And just so you all have information for any left-wing friends that might want to, challenge you on that, here's just from a simple Google search. This is from Tax Notes. It says individual income tax returns, including those of public figures, are private information, protected by law from unauthorized disclosure. Indeed, the IRS is barred from releasing any taxpayer information whatsoever except to authorized agencies and individuals. Like all other citizens, U.S. presidents enjoy this protection of their privacy. Since the early 1970s, however, most presidents and some vice presidents have chosen to release their returns publicly. So there you have it. It is not the law. Ilhan Omar does not know what she's talking about, and yet she tweets that for everyone to read. I just don't get why they don't put just a little bit of time, a little bit of thought, and ask themselves, one, is this sane? Does it make sense? And is it accurate? Just look at Google and find out. Oh my gosh. Folks, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. We'll have some good discussions today. The discussions on Wednesday were awesome. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell when you do, and have a great weekend. I'm Bobby Everly. This is a 13-minute news hour.